What do you mean Gantz is over? A happy ending on the beach? You might as well have had them riding those vehicles off into the sunset. What the fuck? What's up, guys? Gantz has ended. And it's on a beach. And everyone's like, yeah, we did it! And you would think that the series might end dark, so I think it surprised people that it was such a happy ending. But I don't think that's the real problem to the ending, that it was happy. That's good. I mean, the main character deserved a happy ending. I'm glad to see that it was a happy ending. But what is up with the abruptness? The abruptness of the end. One chapter. You know how much plot is hard to put in one chapter in a manga if you read any manga at all. You realize you have to do it in increments of chapters. Okay, you could put a lot into maybe a volume, but a chapter, it's not like some literature where you could put a lot of ideas in one chapter. The end happened in one freaking chapter. It goes from being on the ship, and it's doing that self-destruct thing, and that alien is... oh, by the way, as you can tell, there's spoilers here. If you don't want to hear spoilers, get out, because I want to discuss the ending. So, the guy is trying to avenge the death of his brother, someone that was close to him, and he's fighting K, whatever. And that's where you leave off the chapter before the ending chapter. You're thinking, or at least I was thinking, God, at least it's kind of coming to a close, but at least 5 more volumes or something like that, right? No. One chapter. Suddenly he does that like move that he did against those giant Buddhist statues. Sorry if it's not technically Buddhist. I'm assuming it was Buddhist. And he's like leaps and he hits the guy's head like he kills that giant one. And then he's dead, and then they get on these vehicles really quick and go back to Earth, and they're laying in the ocean for a few days, and then they come ashore, and then everybody greets him and says, good job, you saved the world. What the? How did it end so quickly like that? It was almost shocking. When I saw that the chapter was called End, capital E-N-D, I thought, well, maybe it's just like, one of his chapter titles, like it's drawing close to the end. In fact, the final page, I stared at the end for a really long time. I think on that final page, too, check it out again, there could be a clue to why he did it so abruptly. He says, I hope you're all anxiously awaiting more works by, and then his name. Does he just really want so badly to do whatever else he was thinking? Like he got really inspired that he's like, shh, over, take it, I'm out of here. I'm not one of those people that thinks that an artist owes something to a fan, but as much hard work as he put into that series, I kind of think he owes the story. You know, he kind of, for making something with such good art and so many twists and turns in the plot and all the great characters that he kind of left hanging there, I think 5 volumes would have done it. 5 volumes. So, as I discuss the series in the end, I have to apologize too if I leave anything out, because it's a huge story. And there's a lot of plot stuff to memorize. So I don't know if I get it all right. Correct me down here in the comments if I get something wrong. I want to say the series as a whole is one of my all-time favorite, not just manga. You know, some of my favorite manga would be Berserk, Death Note, and Gantz, and Full Metal Alchemist. And honestly, Gantz might be the number 1, or was the number 1. I'm having a hard time processing the end. As a majority of the manga, through the volumes and volumes and volumes, absolutely one of my favorite. But this ending is really like throwing a curveball as far as appraising the series as a whole. But it's been one of my top stories of all time. And this is talking about any Quentin Tarantino's work. As you can see up there, the Pulp Fiction poster. I love Quentin Tarantino. Inglourious Bastards, Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. Talk about something else that is very portentous, it's really huge, has a lot of scope, is the Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2. It's right up there with stuff like Kill Bill for me. It's right up there with Stephen King's Pennywise. Or Pennywise. It. Which I guess you could call it Pennywise too, because if it is referring to the monster, then hey, it is Pennywise is the name of the monster. Or was it something? I forget the name. The Christian name that Pennywise walked around calling himself. Anyway, that's a huge digression. Out of any of the stuff that I know and love in media, this has been right up there. That's why it's even more puzzling that it wasn't given an appropriate ending. I read some forums and stuff. I was curious what other people thought. You know, people are really stunned and a little outraged, frankly, about this ending. And there's only a few people that kind of defend it. A lot of people, too, kind of criticize. They thought this last arc is where the series kind of went downhill. Now, I do disagree with that. I love the vampires. I love the occupation. Like, you had these other aliens were kind of like immigrants, like the onion aliens or the Buddhist aliens or whatever they're called, the statue ones. And, the birds that were in the robots. Those were kind of like immigrants. This is a real occupation. This is like the empire invading. I actually really like that. The way that they just treated humans like they were just animals. The way that when they would sneak around on the ship, those giant aliens had like dishes full of like human corpses that they were eating and feeding their dogs and stuff. And Kai's girlfriend is in that cage, and there's another human male in there, and he's trying to mate with her. They're like gerbils. And then the zoo, it shows all these really like exotic animals, and then it shows the naked humans huddled together. I really like that arc. In fact, compared to the beginning, I thought it was kind of like Gantz, but then Gantz kind of like expanded upon. I liked it. I know that I got criticism. I loved it. I was right up to it until the final chapter when it just ended out of nowhere. The vampires were interesting. I like the telekinesis. If you read the back of the volumes, he had some debates, I think, with the editors or the publishers about even adding that stuff, because they said, hey, what are you doing here? This doesn't fit into the aliens. And he was like, hey, my generation loved telekinesis and all this other kind of stuff. I want to add it. I loved it. I loved that he added all that stuff. I get bored with one thing. I wasn't really getting bored with the aliens, but if you have something else to offer, I like threading that into the universe. I love all the things that they did except for the final thing at the end. And it's like Muscle Man Rider was really cool too. It's almost like someone from a Street Fighter universe suddenly stumbles upon all this Gantz stuff. Was he at the beach at the end? Did he just, like so many characters, did just abruptly fall off the map? He didn't even give him a cameo, I don't think. Tell me if I'm wrong. Where he's like thumbs up at the end. Like, yay, we did it. The vampires, too, they were just looking at the screen, the dude with the cigarette, and then the Kill Bill girl that looks like Go-Go from Kill Bill. You know, the one Uma Thurman kills with that board with the nails hanging out of it. She looks exactly like that character. We at least got to see them for a second. I've heard people complain, too, about Nishi. It seems like he died. I really kind of wanted him to pop up, like somehow, I know it's a little cliche, but that whole thing where you think they're dead, but they're not really dead, and then they're like, surprise. It's like the end of Big Hit, where Smiley's friend, he comes out, and he's like, I'm gonna finish what I started, motherfucker! And they show the flashback where there's the explosion, but it shows him jumping from it. I really wish Nishi would have got that one last, scare or been an antagonist for one last second. No. So many of these ideas and concepts just dropped up. And wait a minute, we were supposed to care for those aliens at the end, remember? that woman that was helping Kay out, and then she started having sympathy towards humans and started thinking of them as a sentient race. We started caring for them. And then all of a sudden they just die and we don't care. I think it showed 1 minute where Kai was like, no, these people are dying, and that's it. Really did not fit in with the bulk of the story because so many of the other things are fleshed out so well. I'm going to do a part 2 of this. I want to make sure I don't go over 15 minutes. Such a good series. You know, it's like, that's kind of hyperbole. I know this sounds fanboyish, but it's like if you're with a chick for a few years and everything's really good and the sex is all good and all this kind of stuff, and then suddenly she just leaves a note and says, hey, pal, I'm out of here. I'm done. Whoa, could we sit down and talk about this a little bit first? I mean, it's just really strange how it just abruptly nothing. So what do you guys think? I looked at YouTube. I noticed there was a couple videos of Gantz ending, but they made the videos before they were talking about it's about to end. Now that we got the beach ending, the proverbial ride off into the sunset, which doesn't really fit into Gantz, what do you guys think? I may do another video talking about this further. Thanks for watching, guys. Sub and thumb up and comment if you'd like to.